Okay. So thank you everybody for joining us for the second Symbiota support group of 2026. I'll be guiding us through today. We're going to be talking about some Symbiota 3.4 features, not all of them. There are so many that are coming out as part of 3.4, we cannot cover them all in one Symbiota support group. But we'll hit some of the highlights and go over some announcements before we just kind of discuss if anyone has questions. So, as I mentioned briefly, Katie is out this month. She's on maternity leave. We are down one very critical person on our team. So we'll do our absolute best to get back to you as quickly as possible. If you have questions, please keep them coming to the help desk. We'll have just a little less help in doing that. So just keep that in mind if we're a little slower than usual responding. Next month, we are going to be hosting a portal campaign for the Consortium of Northeastern Herbaria. And then kind of following from that, there's going to be a conference, an in-person conference in Burlington, Vermont for the Northeast Natural History Conference. And there will be, I believe, a symposium for the Northeastern Herbaria Consortium there. So those kind of go together. And in May, we'll be hosting the Portal Manager Workshop in San Luis Obispo, which we're getting ready for. And then, per usual, we'll be sending a few of us to the botany meeting this year in Tucson, and we are hosting a colloquium herbarium consortia roundup. So those are some of the highlights of things coming up. And what else? Oh, in case you haven't, you've missed it, IDBio is running a webinar series right now called Sustaining Collections Digitization Beyond NSF Funding. They're doing about 1 to 2 webinars a month. And so those are all posted on their website. We did one in December and there are more to come. So just FYI, that series is still going on if that is of interest. Something I wanted to point out because it's a little bit subtle. So we refreshed or did a fairly major refresh of Symbiota Docs like a week and a half ago. And so if you're looking at Symbiota Docs, they do say version 3.4 now. So the docs are might be a little bit ahead of like what's going on in your portal. And if you're not sure which version you're looking at, you can just look up at the top of the docs and you'll see what version. You can always click the versions drop down and change it to like 3.3 if that's the version your portal is using. So just a heads up, there's if you want to preview some of the new features, that is a good place to look. And so just to dive into it, I'll cover some of the Symbiota 3.4 features that are coming out and more to come soon. So as a reminder, in December, we covered how software development works at the Symbiota Support Hub and why we prioritize certain development. So if you have a question about like why was a certain feature developed, that's a good place to kind of backtrack to. We explained that whole process in December, and now we're actually revealing a lot of the new tools that were developed as part of that workflow. And many of these new features are now in beta testing. So this means they've not been fully rolled out to most of the portals that the Symbiota Support Hub helps maintain. We will send updates and links to the related user document as the new version is released to additional portals. I think it's only out on a couple right now. So we're kind of slowly moving forward with that to see if many bugs are uncovered as we release with beta testing. So we're hoping that this will come out for more portals later this month, and so on. So kind of what we're talking about today is a bit of a preview of what you can expect to come. So today we will be focusing on searching and downloading enhancements. So this would be downloading and searching on the editor and admin record form, as well as searching using the public search form and data downloads. And then there are, as I mentioned, quite a few things coming out as part of Symbiota 3.4. Other major new tools and enhancements include a new duplicate georeference harvesting tool. We'll also be releasing a coordinate validator tool and then enhanced support for fossil collections. So we're hoping to have a Symbiota support group on the 2 georeferencing tools probably later this spring, so maybe in like April or May. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. And then I'm not sure if we'll do a full Symbiota support group on the fossil stuff. That might be a special breakout meeting for those who are interested because it doesn't apply to a ton of collections, but that was a big push for development that we did over the course of 3.4. For major enhancements to the data editor record search form, as a reminder, if you're new to this group or new to Symbiota, you can find that by going into your control panel and you'll just hit edit existing occurrence records, and that's where you would access it. One of the major improvements coming out as part of Symbiota 3.4 is that you can now use that form, or you will be able to use that form to download subsets of your data, which replaces the old exporter tool. And so the way you would get to this is, again, go into your profile, go to your occurrence management, select your collection, and then open up the data editor control panel. And what you can do is search on this form. So I'm just going to do a quick search here. Display table. All right, I want all the records that say Jen was the collector. And then you can now download a subset of those records based on the search that you just did. So that does replace the old exporter tool. Are you all seeing the pop-up that came up in my window? Thumbs up if you are. Okay, great. Thank you, James. So that is new and kind of an exciting feature because there were some limitations to the old exporter tool. Moving forward, let me see. Yeah, we pointed that out there. That's where you can download subsets of your data. There are ways now to search and filter on traits through this form. So if I go back to the form, you'll see that there are two new filters here. This was not there previously. So there's kind of two different ways to search on traits now. So you can select, let me use fruit as an example. So you can search on fruit. So you would display table, and this would be all the things that have something scored. I guess in this case also that Jen collected that have something scored in the traits module for fruit. So that is correct. There's a score here. But if you go back and you want to, I'm going to reset this. If you want to search more specifically, so say you only want records where fruit is present and that has been like scored using the traits module, you would select it over here. So in this case, I'm going to display the table. I'm going to open up this record, check out the traits tab, and voila, we have fruit present on this record. So this is a new thing that you can see appear in your portal. I think it'll probably only appear if the traits module, I'm guessing, is activated in your portal. Not every portal has this, but just something to look out for. Again, that's kind of on the middle part of the record search form. You can now search by event time on this form. So this is a new field that was added. So if you go and just kind of scroll through the options, that's now down here. That field also appears on the occurrence editor down here. So you can enter event time, and I believe ISO is the preferred format, although it will take probably pretty much anything. There it is. And now you can also use this form to sort by label project. And so if you come back to this page, sort by, oh, some people coming in the Zoom room. You can sort by label project using this sort filter. So you would go label project and then sort ascending or descending. Something I learned as I was testing out this tool is that I used to always sort using the dynamic table, and I realized that was actually only sorting the first 1,000 records. It does not sort all of them. So this, if you're trying to sort all of your records, you should use this tool instead. All right, and that's down there on the form. More people coming in. Let's see. Okay, this is a new thing, I think, as of like the end of last week, actually. So you can now batch edit additional identifier tag names and values as separate values. So in the past, you would do this using the other catalog number option, and now there's actually a way to do it for tag names and values separately. I don't think that has been deployed to CCH2 yet, so I'll just show you the screenshot. But this is in the batch editor module, and so that'll come up. I think the name was literally just changed. It's going to come up as additional identifier, tag name, and value once it's actually released. But this is a preview of what that functionality is going to look like. So again, if you were looking for this, um, in your portal, you would go to, oh, where's the batch editor? Let me just do another search again. Search. Yeah, I want to leave without saving. There we go, batch update. It'll show up in this list at the top of the list because they start with A. So just something to be aware of. Frank, I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, I put questions in the chat.
Oh,
And since you're managing it yourself, I guess you didn't notice, so that's
no, I
fine.
did not. Thank you for pointing that out. I've
Yeah.
got a lot of
Um,
windows going on here.
so
Thanks.
so with the trades, I was wondering whether you mentioned that would only be in the ones that have traits, but of course not everything has phenology, which isn't plants.
Correct.
So will that be activated per default for all the portals, or only for those who want it, or what's the deal?
That's a good question. I assume it will show up if you have traits in your portal, like of any kind, whether or not they're phenological traits. Because yeah, that's a very good point. Not all portals have those exact same traits. So I don't, if it's not activated, I believe you have traits in the Lichen portal, correct?
Yeah, we do have traits, but they
Yeah.
are ecological traits, and they're not many coded. So at the moment, it's probably not very useful, but it's good to have it. So that's my. And the other question, I
Mhm.
mean, we constantly are looking for searching the other catalog numbers together with their tags. So since you're now updating the batch, is there going to be a search function also to be able to do that?
Um, y- I guess you'll be able to batch update. I don't think it affects the old search functions at all. I
But
think it's independent of that.
that means you can't search for the combination of tags plus other catalog numbers.
Oh, I think, let me check over here. I believe, admit, um, I believe you should still be able to search for that over here. Yeah, other catalog numbers. So I think that functionality may be separate, but that is a really good question. It was kind of
But
a late.
I'm saying the tag number plus. So, and the problem is you can search for other catalog numbers, but you can't search for the combination of the other catalog numbers with their tags.
I see what you're saying. We'll clarify that when we send out the email with the instructions. Again, this was a very late breaking thing last week, so we
Sorry,
added it the last
I
second. So I don't have a clear answer for you, but that's a very good question that you point out. That's also why I only have the screenshot and it's not actually in the portal yet.
okay. I'll shut up now. So,
Okay, yeah. If we send out the email and miss it, please point it out to us and we'll correct. I appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you. Anything else before I roll forward? No? Okay. Oh, wait. You know what? I'm not seeing my chat for some reason, and I don't know why. So I'm guessing I'm missing some questions.
Lindsay, I had asked whether or not order will be put into the search
Order
in
will,
there.
I don't think so, not this round. I don't think anybody has funded the development of that, probably is what happened, but to my knowledge, no.
I'm in Ecdysis and I was just looking at it. Looks like there's more fields there than there was the last time I putzed around in there. I've been taking a break, but still no order.
That sounds right. Yes, Ecdysis is one of the very few test communities that this has been rolled out to so far. And we'll probably do a few more, I'm guessing, before all is said and done. Right. Let's see. So moving on. Oh, I will mention, so we talked about paleo stuff really briefly. I'm not going to do a demo of it, but just a heads up if this applies to your collection. If paleo is activated for your collection, all of those fields will also be searchable. It's not in CCH2, but using the custom fields on the record search form as well. So that's very exciting as well. Okay, moving forward. Um, so this is now switching from data editor and admin searching to public searching. Something that's very new as part of 3.4 is that you now need an account to download data. And the reason that this was developed was because it does significantly improve portal performance. So you might remember in the past, Skynet, for example, would freeze up a lot, and a lot of that was to do with bots crawling the web and like triggering search results or just massive downloads causing like kind of just clogging the portal. And so now you have to log in to download. So I will show you what that looks like. Shouldn't be, let's see, should work over here. So I'll sign out. I'm going to try to go to the search and I'm just going to, oh, it's already got something populated. Great. Search, download, and it's going to say, hey, you need to log in before you can download this data. So that is new, something to be aware of because that is definitely different than before. So data downloads now have the potential to include accepted names. So this would include accepted name usage, accepted name usage authorship, and accepted name usage ID, and those will get output into the occurrence.csv file. Importantly, accepted means accepted according to your taxonomic thesaurus. And so the accuracy of this information does depend on how well curated your thesaurus is. I will demo again in CCH2. So we already searched for Mimulus. This is a great example. I'm going to download the data. In this case, you have to select this box in order for that information to output. And I'm just going to uncheck these so it goes a little bit faster. Aha, here we go. And if you scroll over, you'll see, okay, here is scientific name. And if you keep going over, you'll see now we have accepted name, the accepted name authorship, and the ID. And I'm just going to hide these so you can kind of see a comparison here. So again, here's the accepted name, or sorry, the scientific name assigned to the specimen record. And then here's the accepted name according to the taxonomic thesaurus. And you'll notice too, if the name that's on here is the same name as what's in the thesaurus, it just gets printed out twice. And yeah, just to point that out again, you have to check this box in order for that information to be output in your spreadsheet. Okay, so changes to public searches and downloads. So the next two features are the last two that I'm going to show. They're a little bit, hypothetical is not quite the right word, but we don't anticipate they're going to be super widely used, in part because they do require a lot of work potentially on the back end to make them happen, but they are important to show you so that you can see what the potential is. So the first one is searching by taxon characters. Again, this requires some community level curation of taxon level characters in the identification keys and subsequent backend configuration on our part. The search results are taxon specific, and the search results may not reflect the actual state of the specimens. That would be what you do. If you want that kind of information, you would search on traits. And I'll demo this in the sandbox in a moment. And just want to point out that this feature was funded by the US Fish and Wildlife Service. So if I go into the sandbox and I go to search and I scroll down, this portal has characters enabled. And so certain character states from the identification keys module have been activated such that they now appear on this form so that you could come in here and say you are interested in just results where you want records that might have, for example, red fruits or the potential to have red fruits. You would then search using the characters filter. And so Amaranthus does, in some cases, have potential for red fruit, but that doesn't guarantee that the specimens that you recall will actually have red fruit. So here's just an example of how that would work. And if there are, I think, characters already, if that's already set up in the backend of your portal, so say the identification key is really built out already in your portal, and there are characters that you as the portal manager or the portal community really want to see searchable, you can email us, and I think that's something we can likely activate for you once 3.4 is rolled out to your portal. All right, and I'm still not seeing the chat, which is very odd. I don't normally have this issue. So if there are any questions, feel free to pipe up. I'll try to take a look at this once I go through the slides. It's kind of odd. Yes, Frank.
Sorry, I'm always bothering you, right?
That's totally.
Anyway, so I think this is great, and the characters. So just to clarify, I think traits apply to specimens and characters apply to species.
Mhm.
So I just think that maybe that's the confusion a little bit. So if people search for um, characters and they don't find those traits in the specimen, then that's because they're not coded for the specimens, but for the taxon.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you for elaborating on that. It is a little bit nuanced because it's sort of like Symbiota lingo versus like how you might speak about it in other ways. Um, Very good point. Thank you, Frank. So our second feature that kind of falls in a similar category is searching by predefined polygons. And so this again was funded by the US Fish and Wildlife Service. And this is a way to search for areas of interest to a given portal community. So for example, if your portal is really interested in a certain park or something like that, or a zone, that polygon can get added to the portal and then it'll make searching on that area easier. Um, as a reminder, even if you have the polygon in there, the specimens won't show up unless they've been georeferenced. And it does require portal manager creation of these polygons in configuration, though it doesn't seem too hard. You can draw them by hand, or you can bring in like copy paste a GeoJSON file into the editor, and that'll create the new polygon for you in the geographic thesaurus. And just a preview, this is kind of what it looks like on the back end for a portal manager. They can go in and add this polygon and then decide if they want it to be searchable or not on the public search form. And so I just did some test ones in the sandbox so you can kind of see what this might look like. So I went in and created a couple polygons. Um, I live in LA, so I just picked Griffith Park. I was like, I wonder if there's anything in the sandbox from Griffith Park. And so if I select that polygon, in search. And it is a little bit slower than some of the other searches, so to kind of give it a minute. And again, I just like hand drew this one just for like demonstration purposes, but they can be much more complicated. Um, there we go. And there are results. And so we've got 3 results of specimens. It's not searching on the locality field, but kind of verifies they are from Griffith Park. And if I go and look on the map, it's going to pop up. Yes, while waiting for this to load, Frank, what is your question?
So, I mean, there's checklists, and you can do a checklist by polygons, right? So, if anybody creates these polygons, are they going to be usable for the search, or does that have to be activated separately?
It has to be activated separately because it would just like, I think it would just like clog the search. So it goes through the geographic harvester. You would just create like a new geographic unit. This is all in the docs too. But you have to create a specific kind of unit and then check it as searchable. I did try experimenting with bringing in some really big polygons, and that was really slow. So I'm not sure. It may not handle super complicated polygons really well, but it's definitely, I think, something worth experimenting with. It is an interesting idea. And so here are my records from Griffith Park. Voila. So this did work. I think that's the last tool we're going to demo for today. Oh, and importantly, searching by predefined polygons and taxon characters do require some work on the part of the community or the portal managers to set up. So they might not be immediately available in your portal, or unless you all decide this is necessary, it might just be turned off. But we thought it'd be important to show that there is potential there if this is something of interest to you. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing. And oh, it's making my chat come back. Excellent. Yes.
Yeah. Will that option be developed in the future for the mapping module, you think? Like kind of a drop down of canned polygons?
I see what you're saying. It kind of does exist already. You can add GeoJSON files, or I guess I say you, but you'd have to ask us to do it for you. If you have a GeoJSON file of polygons, those can already be added, and it would just come up as like a layer in the map. It won't filter your records, but it will come up as like a little gray shape, and you'll be able to see if your dots like fall within that polygon.
Where is that viewable? Like, a canned list of polygons in the mapping module. Probably a stupid question for other people, but
No, no, not a dumb question. There is no can list, so you'd have to send us the GeoJSON file. An example is if you have US counties visible on the map in your portal, that's actually activated the exact same way. So we have a GeoJSON file of US counties that was added in as a layer, and it would work the same way. We would just need a file that's got the correct information in it, and then of course, because it's something that does impact the entire portal community, we'd probably want to send out like a survey and be like, do other people want this first? Because it's not activated on a collection by collection basis. James. Oh, I cannot hear you.
How's that? Sorry.
That's great. I can hear you now.
To build on what Thea was saying, at Oregon Flora, we did some development to expand on what Symbiota had done. And so, Thea, the counties and the ecoregions that are on Oregon Flora are what Lindsay was talking about. And you can click on those individually and search them, and you can also upload a KML file. And so that's stuff that the rest of Symbiota doesn't have. And we also hooked this up to Apache Solar to speed up those searches because they can get really slow.
Oh, it's too bad Ed's not here. Is Ed aware of this?
I loved what Lindsay showed, where there was a drop down, so you could potentially have just
Yeah,
as many polygons as you wanted to have stored, whereas ours are kind of checkboxes, so it kind of limits the number of polygons you could potentially
I
offer.
think that would be hard.
That's
Yeah.
good points. I'm gonna make a mental note of the developments in Oregon Flora too. Thanks for mentioning that. Somebody else had their hands raised and then it went down.
Yeah, that was me, Lindsay. But I
Yes.
think between James and Thea, I got my answer because kind of missed it, but the predetermined polygons are ones that the portal manager creates, right? Not one that, as you're familiar with the Koji project as part of the Eastern Seaboard, I just didn't know if those sort of existed in the portal and I could somehow, type in some locality and then they would automatically pop up, but that's not true. I've got to create those.
The
Okay.
portal manager, yeah, or have
Yeah.
us add them for you.
Okay.
Yes. Good question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I see there are some questions I missed in the chat. Let me see if there are any we haven't covered yet. Yes. Oh, Julie, your point about searching by order, I do recommend adding that to Symbiota discussions if it has not been added already. I'm sure other people have asked for this and definitely in Ecdysis, but
I think I did.
okay. I'll go look after this and make myself a note order and add it if it's not already in there. Let's see. I know you disabled relationship records and downloads due to bots. Is that restored with this login? Oh, that's a good question, Jason. So Jason asked if we re-enabled searching on relationships. I am not sure about that. Nobody has mentioned it to me, so maybe it has been overlooked. I can bring that up if it hasn't been restored, because that is a very good point.
I think, excuse me, I think searching still works, but
Downloading,
relationships aren't
yeah.
included in downloading.
Frank, yes.
I actually have a question for James or for you both. So the KLM file's a little bit more widely used by people, I guess, than the GeoJSON files, and I had some trouble actually converting some of the files that I had into GeoJSON, but it finally worked. So, is there a chance to get those both supported, or I mean, maybe by using what Oregon developed already or so?
I don't think we have plans on our end.
I'm
James
just
does.
thinking if James already knows how to do it, then maybe that could be implemented for everything. I don't know.
Yeah, so we have both implemented. Um, so the code's there, Lindsay. Uh, it uses a external JavaScript plugin for Leaflet to enable that KML. Otherwise, it's not too complicated.
Okay, I have noted these things and will pass them on. I can make no promises, but I will try. Do you have anything else for the Symbiota support group or not necessarily related to 3.4? Thank you for your questions so far. If not, I will end the meeting early and everybody will get like 20-ish minutes back. Precious time in the day. Going once, going twice. All right. Well, if that's it for today, just be on the lookout. We'll send out an email once 3.4 is coming to a portal community near you, and it'll outline all of the features, or it should outline most of them, and link to the docs in advance of your portal actually getting updated. And so we're hoping to start doing that over the next month or so. So thank you all for coming. It was great to see you, and tune in next month. We'll be back.